Okay, folks, let's sky mode here. Out in the garage, working on a boat, getting everything ready for spring. And what I want to do today is I just want to show you what I use and have used for my whole, I've done this probably since I was an adult, before I ever got into tournament fishing. But when I got into tournament fishing, folks, it's local stuff. A couple $100 entry fee and stuff. I fished for USA Bassin for, I don't know how many years, several years. Okay, and the logo on my channel is Team Daredevil. Okay, and that was me and my son, that was our team's name. Most of them didn't name their team, but I just thought it was cool, and I put it on our shirts. It looked really nice. But I want to go through my equipment, what SkyMo does. Now, a lot of people spend a buku money on rods and reels and line. They got to have the best of everything. Okay, that's okay if they got the money to do that. I'm not knocking what other people do, but, and this is very controversial. People will go through the roof when I go through, but I stand by what I'm telling you today. It's worked for me. I've caught bass all over the country, just bass fishing. Like I said, I've been a local tournament fisherman for 30 years. And when I went from just fishing to tournament fishing, nothing changed as far as my equipment went, but with the exception of too many lures. But I want to go through my rods and reels here and my line and just kind of keep this short if I can. Everybody remembers the old Zebco. This is a 404, but they also made the 202 and I think a 303 and something else. This was my father-in-law's, and God rest his soul. But he used these for several. I don't know how long he used these old things, but he's caught some big old bass. There's a picture with about a 7-8 pounder. Probably caught on one of these. Anyway, folks, there's a lot of people, and especially if they're sponsored, they'll whip out these big high-dollar reels and rods, and you gotta have this Fatback 5000, boy, he's a real big fat man, and boy, look at this thing. And blah, 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 they go on and on, got the little socks they put off and on them, and when you see them out in there fishing, they've got 20 poles on the bow of their boat, and, folks, I can't afford to walk all over my rods and reels. I've got, me and my son, we've got one of these Johnny Morris's. Back when we bought these, he bought 2 of these, I bought one, I give the other one to my son. My other son, this is almost $200 reel. Okay, there's one in the lake over there in Preble County that fell off the back of the boat. It was so windy, long story, but we lost it. Okay, so we're going to lay that. I don't use these anymore. They're okay. I could throw heavier baits on them. I never could throw finesse baits on them. Okay, so to me, I give mine away to my son. I'm like, I ain't dealing with this. And my wife's got one. And it's a little Pro Bass shop job. And, some people, man, I don't know if it's the quality or if it's me, but now, I grew up with one of these. We're fishing in this big Miami River, with the braided line. Braided line's not a new technology. That was around probably before I was born. Those South Bend rods and reels and the South Bend braided line. 2 lines when I was a kid. Monofilament and braided. And I used, when I was a kid, I used whatever I could get. So anyway, you don't need that big fat, that 5,000 for $300 or $400 buku dollars. However, if you want to do that, I'm not knocking it. I'm not telling you what you should buy, okay? But I'm telling you what got me by. Everything I'm showing you here, I never missed that many fish, and normally when you miss a fish, you set the hook too early and you just pull it right out of his mouth. Okay, but I never had my equipment to let me down. I don't feel like I did. Now, like I said, it's controversial. People will argue with you up and down. Some people will about it. Well, you need this, you need that. My main thing is I always, across the board, use a medium heavy rod. Let me show you something. And I like to use a 7-foot rod if I can find one. Sometimes I buy a 6.6. Okay, now this is a 7-footer. This is a 7-foot medium heavy. What is the brand is this? It's a Berkley rod. Now I did most of my stuff usually comes from Walmart. Okay, it's a composite rod. I got these on sale. I bought 2 of these, and I got another one over here, same kind of rod. I got these on sale for I think they was $35. And it's a Berkley 7-foot rod, and it's a lightning rod. You probably can't even buy it anymore. Medium heavy. It says line 8 to 14 pound. But, they've all got these little cheap. They're not cheap, but, you step on them, you're going to bend them. Sometimes you get away with bending them back, sometimes you don't. But now, they have, most of your poles made today has got these little bitty old fine tips on them. I can't tell you how many of these I broke. But anyway, and usually I step on them or I go to get my lure loose and down in the water and I break it. Okay, but I have a lure retriever for that. And dang it, I wish 2 things I can't find right now is my lure retriever and my digital scale. And it's probably, they're together somewhere. I don't know where I put them. We got back from Florida, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this here is a Shimano Sienna reel. Okay, I primarily just use these anymore. The bait casters I don't even put in the boat anymore. I can throw nothing on this practically. I can skip it. I can throw it under docks. Once I discovered one of these buku years ago, everything else took back seat to it. I tried the fairly expensive bait casters, and I just don't get along with them very well. And it ain't the backlash. I dealt with that when I was a kid. I learned how to use them when I was, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Now here's something. I will pay on average $25 to $35 for a rod. Get them on sale. Take care of them. I don't have 15 rods laying on my deck. I have 4 fishing rods. That's all I use. I want to change my bait, I retie. I tie it on. Most of the fish I lost was because I was too lazy to retie, and that's where it broke, was at the knot. So always, especially if you're fishing a jig or something that's hitting the bottom, after 10, 15 casts, 20 at the most, I would retie. Okay, and you should do that, but, most of the fish that I lost was because I didn't retie. Anyway, this reel here, probably $20, $25 by Walmart. Okay, and There's another one. All right, these are all medium heavy rods. This one here is a 7-footer. It's a medium heavy. And another thing, I always use a one-piece. I am a big believer in a one-piece rod. This is an Ozark Trail. I do believe this is a Walmart job. And you see the flimsy eyes on them. You just got to take care of them, man. Don't walk on them. Normally, if you bend it way down, when you bend it back up, normally you'll break it. It's a dickens to put eyes on these poles. I think maybe 25, 30 bucks. Here's the reel I got on it. Oh, well, the line tangled up. And a lot of people, oh, that's so noisy, blah, 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 blah. I want you to hear this. Look at that. $25 reel. You hear any noise? Okay. Berkley rod. The reel, 20, 25 bucks. This is a mega cast. Well, this ain't a Walmart. This is a Bass Pro. Okay. I know I didn't pay over 25, 30 bucks for it, or I wouldn't have bought it. Okay. And I guarantee you that rod probably come from Walmart. All right, here's another rod and reel. This is a Sienna. Listen. There's no noise to that thing. Let's see. Bought this last time we was in Alabama. One of mine. Here's the worst thing about these. Okay, this spring in here will break. And it's always a good idea to flip that over with your hand. It takes a little stress off of your reel. Okay, but just flip that over. Listen to that. I think we got this on sale in Kingston, I believe it was, whatever Walmart was. This was 15, 20 bucks. This is on an Abu Garcia rod. And this one is probably, let's see, that's 7-footer. This is a Vengeance. Yeah, Vengeance, next generation Abu Garcia rod. Medium heavy. And 6'6". This rod's 6'6". I'm like 5'9". Okay, I mean, man, you don't have to spend a fortune to go out and fish and have good equipment. Sometimes it is, you get what you buy. Sometimes that's true. But it's not always true. I've used these cheaper rods and reels my entire life. Okay? And, my entire adult life, I should say. I got one more here to show you, and then I'll show you my line. This is the other rod that I got. Now, every once in a while, you do get a little noise. Now, you can't hardly hear this line slapping all over the place. Okay. But anyway, some of them are a little noisy. Okay. Don't buy it. Okay. But this is a Shakespeare Excursion. Okay, 25, 30 bucks. I don't pay high bucks for my stuff. Don't have to. And this is another one of those Berkley rods, 7-foot rod. It's two of the best rods I ever bought. I don't like that real fine tip, but they're all like that anymore. But that tip is real fine. When I'm running and gunning, I got the poles either in my rod locker or I got them laying back this way, holding on to them. I've got a couple rods and reels in the weights. But that's what I use, folks. I don't go out here and spend, $200 or $300 for a rod, $100 for a rod, $200 or $300 for a reel. I'm just not going to do that. I don't have to do that. It's not necessary for me to do that. And I feel like my fishing's as good as anybody else's. Now, what kind of line do we use? Now soon to come is the money bait. I'm going to show you something that I've hid for years. I've sat on it. I've hid it. You can buy similar baits, but I've never seen one exactly like it. It may be out there, but I haven't found it. I've won more money with this bait. And as soon as I get my skirts, I had to order some new skirts. As soon as I get them in, I'm going to show you exactly what it is. But when I use anything on the bottom, with the exception of sometimes I'll throw a Carolina rig. But on my jigs, I will always on my jig or my bottom bouncing bait Texas rig, I'll always use a braided line. One of my best lines, and I've got a lot of confidence in this line, is the Power Pro line. That's 20-pound braid, and how good you can see it there. But it's a braided line. It's 20-pound test. This little Walmart. It's went up. I don't know how much it is. I haven't bought any in a while. $15 maybe for 150 yards. But anyway, that's what it looks like. And there's the label on it. For my monofilament, for my crankbaits, and for my top waters, I will almost always use 12-pound test religiously. Okay, Trilene. All right, 12-pound test fluorocarbon. I don't remember how much this was, $10, $12, or 350 yards on that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this line. Okay, I don't go out and pay, $40, $50 for an expensive line. I don't do it. And another line you can use, another braided line, is Trilene Big Game braided line, 20-pound test. Now, the only difference is it's a little lighter. Okay, you probably can't see it really. But it's a little lighter than your Big Game. It's green, but it's a little bit lighter, Big Game. It's a little bit lighter than your Power Pro. Folks, that's it. Now, when I was tournament fishing, you need one of these in the boat or on the bank anyway if you plan on keeping any fish. Okay, that's a golden rule. Always check your slot limits. All right, now, when the rod come out, a little T-handle, little balance beam here. I'd tell you right now, buddy, which fish is heavier. You get some they're so close, put them on here. Okay, if you're tournament fishing. Anyway, folks, that's what Les Skimo does. What the equipment that I buy and the rods and reels have served me really good all these years. Some people they've got 5 different rods for 5 different baits. And that's not necessary as far as I'm concerned. I'll get a lot of comments, probably a lot of arguments out of it, a lot of debate out of it, and that's fine, that's okay. But for me, that's how I do it. And if the bell breaks on one of these, if the bell spring breaks on one of these, which it will, eventually the bell spring's going to break. you know, and throw in the trash, go buy a new one. Now, I do have, over the years, I've saved some springs out of them, several of them from different things you went wrong with. I got a few extra springs. If a spring don't fit, I throw it and I'll pitch it and go buy another $25 rod or reel, I mean. So, folks, that's how SkyMo does it, and you know, it's extra money I save by putting gas in old Miss Penny right here. So, folks, that's it. I'll get into my sonar sometimes, and there's a story. I got a story behind my Garmin sonar. I like to tell people, and I'm endorsed by nobody. I'm just little old me doing my little old thing. And but that's it, folks. That's what Les SkyMo's used for buku years. And so anyway, there it is. This is Les SkyMo. I love you. God bless you. Jesus loves you. And this is SkyMo, and I'm out.